So these are the bits and pieces for our beef stew and dumplings. I'll show you the dumplings in another video. But so we've got 700 grams of Hereford beef, which has been diced to make it a bit easier for us. Salt, squiggly pepper and salt. Liam Perrin's Worcestershire sauce, we'll use probably a tablespoon of that. Teaspoon of the mixed herbs, which will go into the 500 ml of beef stock. 2 sticks of celery, 225 grams of swede, 225 grams of carrots, 2 sliced onions, and about 30 ml or whatever it is of tomato puree. So basically 2 tablespoons of tomato puree should be fine. So we're going to mix all those up together and give the casserole a good stir, and then we're going to pop it into a preheated conventional oven rather than fan at 160 degrees. I've coated the diced Hereford beef in 2 tablespoons of plain flour. Then we'll pop it all in the casserole dish, mix it all up together, and pop it in the oven for about 2 hours, I guess. I've popped the 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, a teaspoon of mixed herbs, and the tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce into the beef stock, and I'm now going to give that a good old stir up. So it looks a jolly mixture of colours of veggies, etc, etc. I'm just giving it a good sprinkling of salt and squiggly pepper, and now just going to pop the lid on, pop that in the oven for 2 hours. Give it a bit of a stir about halfway through or so, just to mix it all up a bit more. Careful how you get the casserole out of the oven because it'll be pretty hot. And then after 2 hours we add our dumplings, which I'll show you in another video, and then we cook those for a further 20 to 30 minutes on top of the stew that's already in the casserole pot. If you're not doing the dumplings, well, we'll just add another 30 minutes to the cooking time. So without the dumplings, just pop it in the oven for 2.5 hours and it should be fine. But if you're cooking the dumplings, pop them on top after the first 2 hours of cooking, and then just cook for a further 20 to 30 minutes and your dumplings should be beautiful. I'm going to probably do horseradish dumplings because I think they just add an extra bit of flavour with the horseradish, and it goes well with the beef. So we're now going to make the horseradish dumplings. So we're going to use 100 grams of self-raising flour, pinch of salt, 50 grams of the Atora or whatever shredded suet, 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley. I don't actually have that tonight, but that'll make it taste better, and cold water to mix, and about a tablespoon of the horseradish sauce mix, something like that, what you see there. So we'll mix that all together, as I say, with a little bit of water and the horseradish sauce until it makes a nice soft dough, and then we'll make that into 4 round balls, and those will be our dumplings. And then after 2 hours of cooking our beef stew in a conventional oven at 160 degrees, we'll pop those on the top of the casserole and then just cook them for a further 20 to 30 minutes. If you want your dumplings a little bit more crusty and baked looking, then just leave the cover off the casserole dish for the last 20 to 30 minutes whilst you cook your dumplings. So here are the 4 horseradish dumplings. So I've mixed all the ingredients we mentioned before together, and added about 3 to 4 tablespoons of cold water to make this soft dough. These look to me a bit soggy, so I think I've added a bit too much water because I cheated and put it in with the tap, so maybe I've gone a bit too over the top and you end up in a bit of a mess. So I've just dolloped them onto this plate, that's a technical term, in 4 sort of roughly equally sized dollops, and so then we'll pop those into the casserole for the last 20 minutes, half an hour of the cooking time. So basically after we've cooked our casserole for about 2 hours in a conventional oven in a casserole dish at 160, then we'll add the dumplings to the top of the casserole contents, and you can either cover them over and let them cook, as I say, for 20 to 30 minutes, or leave the cover off and then they will just become a little bit more coloured and a bit more crusty, if that's the way you like your dumplings. So the casserole's been in for, or stew, been in for about 2 hours now, and we're now going to pop the dumplings on top, horseradish dumplings, and I'm going to put the lid back on and just let them basically, I guess, steam themselves, I guess. See how we get on. Dumplings don't look very pretty at this stage, look a bit dodgy shapes, but that's my fault. So we pop them in the oven for about another 20 minutes to half an hour with the lid on this time, and see how they come out. I'll try and do another video with the lid off so you see them when they're a bit more crispy. Well, they look interesting. So anyway, hopefully they taste better than they look. But anyway, I shall enjoy a nice glass of wine and wish you a very happy Christmas, and hopefully they will taste better than they look. But I'm sure they'll be fantastic.